electronic publishing. Now, when I put it out there, I don't even know exactly the conversation, one that would ensue, and I know it's such a sort of multi-dynamic issue, because one can say, from a publishing side, you can say about electronic publishing, which I definitely want to hear about, but I know from the university side, you know, specifically with the tenure issue, you know, it also depends on whether departments and schools and universities acknowledge that towards tenure. You know, and so I'm just curious, just in terms of, I guess, the pulse of those sorts of things, particularly from university presses, because I'm assuming, I guess I'm hoping there's some connection between what universities accept and in terms of electronic publishing, or how, where you see that conversation, and if not, I mean, everybody can speak to this. But also folks who are based in university, whether this is something that's being discussed, you know, and different universities and the sort of, maybe Research One universities are different positions and all sorts of things. I'm just sort of tossing it out there, if you will, partially because I'm very interested to sort of know where it's at, but I'm wondering, you know, where we can imagine it being 4 years from now, potentially, when some of you might be publishing, or before then. I'm not, but keeping that as a.
Do you mean sort of electronic only publishing? Like there's not a book?
Well, no, I mean, if so, the hybrid issue, all
yeah.
of that, I'd love to hear some conversation about it.
Well, I can tell you that I think we just had a meeting the other day, and we were looking at the numbers of ebook sales, and I think if I remember correctly, between this and it's all moving fast. Between this year and last year, we saw a 400% increase in ebook sales. Now that's still only like thousands, you know.
Not even thousands.
Yeah,
I mean, that could
yeah.
be 10, and now you know.
Yeah, it's not that, but yes,
because that's really kind of where the numbers are.
Yes,
they're
that's where
still
the numbers
not.
are.
They're not as big. I mean, they're
They're
maybe
not as
10
big.
to 12%
Right.
of your book sales. So
Yeah.
it's
not even that
growing,
yet.
but they're still pretty small.
We're actually at, I think, 6% for ebook sales, and I saw the California editor recently, and she said it was also 6% for them. So I think some of us are in that terrain. That does not mean that by next year it couldn't be
Right.
10%,
Yeah.
but that's still only 10%. And what we've still found is that most students, they still want to print, you know, they'll print it out. They're happy to have an ebook if it's cheaper, but in the end, they actually still print the thing out. And so there's that notion of the tangible is still wanted. It may change with iPad and, you know, with the way things are going. If things become more user friendly, I don't know. But we're definitely, and we're trying to plan and think about maybe, and some publishers, Princeton is offering, has a plan in place, and California is talking about something similar, about doing shorter books of maybe 30,000 words. I think it's called Princeton Shorts. And some of those are republished, you know, things that they already published, and now they're going to package them so that they can be for a quick download, and only maybe $4, or I don't know, but a fraction of what the whole book might be. And it seems like that's gonna happen, you know, in some form that's happening, but whether everything moves to electronic, I don't know. And again, for tenure granting, they're you know, big questions, because so far the university presses that have tried to do sort of online only, it's not Michigan, Rice University, then they went out of business. I mean, it's not quite working yet, but it doesn't mean that it won't work one day, but we're still not there yet.
So when you're saying ebook numbers, when you're quoting your ebook numbers, when you're saying ebook, are you saying dual publishing, hard copy, and ebook, or are your numbers based on only ebook?
Like we have
publishing?
sales. We can track the sales. How many of this book has sold in paperback?
So
how many
dual.
of this book has sold as a hardback, so a library edition, and then how many have sold in the ebook?
So NYU isn't doing exclusively.
And
That's
most places are not.
That's okay.
Are not.
So the average is 6% of the books?
Total. 6% of our sales, of our book sales, 6% are as ebook sales. So someone who bought this book not as a physical thing, but for a reader of some form. Either it's a Nook, it's a Kindle, it's an iPad, whatever it is. And it's not free to publishers because we have to format all the things in all of those different processes, and we have to have repositories to store these things, and you know, there's this notion that, oh well, it's just so free and easy, and it's really not. There are companies that now exist that will just convert this into the Sony reader or whatever it is. You know, all these places have cropped up, and again, there is also that issue of, and we don't even like to send the PDF of your manuscript to you because they get out there, and it's too easy for those to also exist. And then why would you buy the ebook version if you could just